Hey traders, how's it going? Hope you're all doing well. It's Tuesday, September 3rd, and it's been a minute since I've made a video. I think I went all of last week without making a video, and there's a couple reasons for that. The first reason is that I've been concentrating on creating my next video course, which I alluded to, I believe, in the last video I put out. And this course is going to be all about being able to interpret candlesticks and candlestick patterns to help you interpret price action. So I've been doing a lot of sort of pre-pro, you could say. Haven't actually recorded the course yet, but I'm just about there. I'm just kind of sort of outlining exactly how I want the flow to be, and we'll get that finished pretty quickly. But I was doing that last week, and then also I just traded real small, real conservatively all week. So while I did have a green week, it was definitely nothing to write home about, and nothing happened that was exciting enough to warrant making a video about. It was just fairly normal trading on really small size. So it was, it was small gains each day last week. So you'll see today that I actually traded 4 tickers, which, as I've said before, is something that I try not to do. I try to limit myself to just 3 tickers or less per day. But today, what I saw made me feel confident that I could trade 4. I traded Boeing, as mentioned, MU, SPY, and the Qs. And I made relatively small profits on the Qs, MU, and SPY, but I made most of my money today on Boeing. And I'm going to put up the screen share right now. You'll see I made just over $1,000 on Boeing. And most of this move came within the first 30 minutes of the day. So essentially about $1,000 of profit in 30 minutes this morning. I wanted to do a video today because I wanted to talk about when you can actually put the news to your advantage, and you can combine particular news stories or developments along with your ability to read price action and to interpret the candlesticks to jump in at the right times and exit at the right times and profit off of this ability. And that's what I did today on Boeing. So ticker is BA. And anybody that's been following the market knows that Boeing has had a real rough go of it lately. And there was news this morning that Wells Fargo just downgraded the stock to underweight. And that's a pretty big deal. And now, although I never make decisions or trades based on news alone, and if you've read my book or you've seen my course, you know that I say don't ever trade based on the news. And yes, I believe that. Do not ever trade based solely on news. But that doesn't mean that you can't pay attention to the news and then combine your knowledge of what the news is with what you see on the chart. And that's what I did with Boeing this morning. So first of all, taking a look at what happened over the long weekend. So this morning, when I woke up, first thing I usually do is listen to a couple of Wall Street podcasts early in the morning. I like to listen to a couple of them that are just 5-6 minutes long. Another one's like 10 minutes long usually. And I do that first thing and just sort of see, what the word on the street is. And if something piques my interest, I will check it out on the charts. And so I heard the story about how Boeing had been downgraded over the long weekend. And so I looked at the charts, and sure enough, there was a really big gap down over the weekend. And so, as you know, when a gap happens, either a gap up or a gap down, one of two things is going to happen when the market opens up. we're either going to fill the gap or we're going to continue in the same direction. And usually the market will figure that out fairly quickly. So, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, you won't have to wait very long when the day opens up to figure out whether the gap is going to be filled or whether it's going to continue. In just a second, I'm going to get into a screen share and I'm going to tell you exactly what I saw on the charts and why I did exactly what I did. But basically, so the day opens up and I see pretty quickly that we are not going to fill the gap and we are indeed going to continue to the downside. And that's why I was comfortable getting in short today, with not a gigantic amount of size because I'm still keeping my size small. I'm not all that comfortable in going really big in either direction right now because a lot of things are still real iffy to me. So whatever I do, whether I go long or short on the day and whatever the reasons for that, I'm probably going to keep it fairly small size for the time being. It's not like how it was in June or early July when it seemed like you could just go long and you couldn't miss. It was like morning opens up, go long, just hold the position all day long and just ride it and make your money. It's not like that anymore. You have to be a lot more nimble for the ins and the outs. And when I do my screen share in a minute, I'll show you what I mean and what I saw on the charts to make me realize you need to get in and out a little bit quicker. And you can't necessarily let a few contracts just run all day long and continue because the direction can shift on you at any moment. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So I got in short and got in short quickly, and you'll see that I was right. And I'm going to explain exactly why I did what I did right now in the screen share. So let's go ahead and check it out. Okay, here we are taking a look at today's chart on Boeing. I've got it zoomed out quite a bit so you can see this is over the weekend and yesterday, and then here's today, and this was last Friday. So now I'm going to tell you what I saw and why I reacted the way that I did. First, I'm going to put up the screenshot of my entire trading activity today. So you can see that I only traded 8 contracts today, which proves that you can make a good amount of money without needing to trade a giant amount of contracts. So I made over $1,000 today on 8 contracts. So it can be done. All right, so you can see here's the really, really wide view. And I'm going to zoom in here so we can get more perspective on what we actually want to look at. So this is pre-market. This is right before we opened up. And then this was the first minute of the day. This is 8:30 within the first minute that we opened up. This level right here, this alert that I set on 171.50, this was the low of day on Friday. So this is the level where if price had broken up above this level, I would start to pay attention. Now, that doesn't mean that I would have necessarily done anything, but it would have pricked my ears up and I would have been looking at a potential long entry if we broke up above this mark and kept going for a little while. But you can see what happened, and this is extremely telling. These first 2 candles right here, you get this initial immediate pop-up, and then 8:31, you get this bearish engulfing candle that just completely obliterates everything that happened in the first minute of the day, and then we just continue to fall. And so when I saw this happen within the first, 4 to 5 minutes of the day, I knew that we weren't immediately going to pop up and fill the gap. I thought it's possible that, perhaps later on in the day, we slowly climb back up to this level. But at least in the very beginning of the day, which is when I like to do most of my trading because that's where the volatility is. And so that's where you can really make your money. I knew that we were not going to immediately fill the gap once I saw this. So if you look at my entries and exits, you'll see that I bought my first contract on Boeing at 831, and then I bought my second one at 833, and then another one at 834 and 835. So right when I saw this, I got in with a starter position. I just got one contract, and then it continued to go in my favor, and I added in here, and then added in here. And I held those open. I sold my first one at 837. So let's see, right here. So I basically got in right around here. Just a couple minutes later at 837, I sold my first contract. Sold another one at 837. Sold another one at 846. So I let this ride. Right here, I sold another one. And I had one left at that moment, and I held that one until 1025, all the way over. Let me minimize this. All the way right down here. You see I made a little note, closed, put here. So I basically did a majority of my trading right here within the first 10 minutes of the day, but then I had one left open, and I held that until right here. Now, why did I hold that until here and then decide to close it out pretty much right before we started to retrace? Well, that's because I was taking a look at the 50 EMA and the alligators, and I was seeing their motion. I was seeing the arc of their movement. And so if you isolate this area right here at the very beginning of the day, like especially with the 50, you can see a fairly pronounced arc, the way that it's falling in a fairly pronounced way. But then by the time we get over to this area where I actually closed at, you can see that we're just kind of stagnant. It starts to go sideways. It's essentially consolidating, and I don't want consolidation. I want an actual trend. So at that moment, I thought, okay, well, it's possible that it'll continue to fall after we just sort of consolidate for a minute, but it's also possible that we might retrace and come back up. And, at the very least, when I'm moving sideways, I'm not making any money. So I had made the bulk of my money right here in, the first 10 minutes of the day on Boeing. And at this point, once I sort of saw the momentum of the downward pressure start to wane, at this point, I thought, well, I'm just going to close this because, anything can happen. And I've already made over $1,000 on just this one ticker today. So that's more than enough money for the day. I'm not going to get greedy about it. And you never know what's going to happen. So, it's really that simple. It's just, I noticed where price was. Here's the 200 EMA, as I say in what seems like every single video that I ever make. The most important indicator, in my opinion, 200 EMA. Price was below the 200 EMA. We tried to break above it on the very first minute of the day, failed, came down, and then as soon as we came down below the 50, and as soon as the alligator started to open up also below the 50, I said, okay, this is downwards pressure. And I said, there's my trend right there. The trend has been established. I'm going to jump in on the trend. I'm going to ride the trend and just make my money as it goes. And, it's really as simple as that. So this is a pretty textbook example of my strategy at work right here. Identify a trend, get in on the right side of the trend, ride the momentum while you have the momentum. opening and closing contracts at the right times, and make your money, and then get out before you retrace and lose your money. And that's that. Okay, we're back. Hope you enjoyed that little breakdown. I trust it made sense. It's really pretty simple. That's my strategy. You identify the trend, go with the trend, make the money while the trend is happening, get out before the trend reverses on you. It's literally that simple. But even though it's that simple on the big picture side of it, there are a lot of little individual tips and tricks that you can use to really make the whole thing a lot easier. And so that's where my course and my books come in. I will teach you every single thing that I know about, everything right down to the detail of how I trade each and every day. So if you don't already have one of my books or my course, pick those up. It'll really help you out with your trading and take your trading to the next level. So books are available on Amazon.com. My course is available on lonewolftradingclub.com, so you can pick those up. And I hope you're having a green week so far. And I will talk to you soon whenever I end up making another video. Until next time, take care, everybody.